world champion today?
Ooh, you're asking us to predict now? We're not on the analyst desk, but I think it's likely. I think Samsung are looking so good at the moment.
Exactly. I mean, one of the things that Ambition said in his interview that was so telling was that last time they faced SK Telecom, they felt the need to have surprise picks to actually overcome this legend that is SKT. But this time around,
they felt the
it actually
need
feels like
to have
SK
surprise
Telecom
picks
have been
to
actually
actually
overcome
reaching for new
this
picks.
legend.
Exactly.
that
And
is
it feels like
SKT.
it's
But this time
SKT
around,
needs to
it
look
actually
at
feels like
Samsung and how do we beat their current strategy because it's been so good doing the knockout stages here. We've seen a lot of focus around strong bot lane picks. You have Ambition who's controlling the jungle and division. And on SKT's side, it's been just about Faker mainly, and the fact that he can carry this team all the way to a final.
So the question is it the SKT clutch factor, or is it Samsung Galaxy who are looking actually a bit better? And I want to actually liken this to the 2014 run of Samsung White, where they didn't have a domestic title, but people called them the best team in the world coming into it. And they smashed the Korean champions Samsung Blue 3-0 in the semifinal. And here's Samsung Galaxy smashing the Korean champions Longju in the quarterfinal and heading in with a 6-1 game record throughout the top 8. Here, likely the favorites against SKT in the final.
All right, we're jumping straight into the pick and ban phase here of Game 1. Jace, Rakan, Sejuani already banned by Samsung.
Yeah, Huni has had target Jace bans all throughout this tournament. He's actually played Jace more than any of the other top laners and has been a huge part of SK Telecom's early side pressure that they've been getting.
I think Samsung were ready for a potential first pick Galio, and that's why they banned the Sejuani on blue side. SKT, of course, removing Kalista as well.
Yeah, Janna here is the obvious one that has not gone through, though, and Samsung will be very happy to pick this one up. Janna has been a champion that every single team in this meta has been so happy to build a composition around.
Now, Kobe, we're talking a lot about Varus as a key pick here because Samsung has focused so much on having that strong bot lane.
Yeah, we watched the VODs of their match versus Team WE, and it was all about Ruler getting this pick so early on that they were able to have bottom lane control and then bring in the other parts, the top lane of the Shen pick or the mid lane from the Galio to play around that bottom lane and get snowballing.
And Quick Shot talked to Koma before the games. We saw it in the pre-show. Koma said they need to find a way to stop Samsung's bot lane from winning early on.
Malzahar for Crown, because Crown has been a huge discussion point for Samsung Galaxy this year. Whereas you remember back to last year in the finals, Crown was one of the best players on the team and a huge part of trying to take down Faker. He even got the solo kill on Faker in game number 1. But Malzahar is this champion. You're not looking for solo kills. You're looking even at a CS deficit early on and being more useful later.
And you bring engage for your team, which is really good against split pushers like Huni. If you can always force a fight in the mid to late game, Huni has to TP in and join, and his split pushing days are over. SKT, though, they actually removed the Jarvan here, so Ambition can still go for either Kha'Zix or Lee Sin as one of his preferred choices in the jungle. I like the Syndra ban.
Again, if we're seeing a lot of top lane bans as well, Gnar really comes to the forefront of my mind. Because they've already banned out the Jace, this is a very possible blind pick. Everybody willing to play this champion.
Every day, Gigasurf 99 for 7 days of data. So now,
look like that will be a split push advantage.
We're probably going to get the cannon here coming in from Cube. That is normally the answer to Gnar up in the top lane.
His answer. Almost no one else plays it,
well,
but
his answer,
it's what he does. AP Ken.
He's the meta now.
And
he is.
There's a reason for that, because to me it is a very risky answer. Yes, AP Cannon can have some team fight interactions here, but especially just 1v1 with the Gnar, jungler advantage means a huge amount in that matchup, and these top laners have not gotten a lot of jungler intervention.
All right, here we are in the ends of champs. Like you can see where all the champions have gone. Cassiopeia in the mid lane for Faker. Wolf on his 8th Lulu game of the tournament. He's played 9 unique champions and almost half an hour on Lulu here. He is on comfort.
Cassiopeia as well coming in last year from Faker. He saw the blind Malzahar and said, you know what? I can destroy that guy in the laning phase. We've not seen a lot of Cassiopeia in the knockout stage, but it is still such a powerful laner if you are good with the champion.
Yeah, and we do have Peanut on the Gragas as well. So much about early game in the current meta has these two roles linked. We've said so many times throughout this tournament, is a lot about mid and jungle in the early game, and then you can start to transition that through to Vision, which does get that bottom lane control we always come back to.
Exactly, and the plan here makes a lot of sense from SKT's side, as we have a little bit of confusion of how far away do you walk for the handshake when the coach is all the way on the other side of the stage.
Well, it's a long track here. They're going to learn, and you heard Dash talk about the 100-meter dash earlier with this one. Maybe they can run a quarter mile back and forth to their teams and the coaches.
I think they're just worried the dragon was going to come back. That is a healthy amount of respect given.
Still though, spawn till 35 minutes. They're okay for now.
They're okay for now. I look at the SKT drafter and I'm like, okay, they identify, get a winning mid lane matchup for Faker, get a bot lane matchup that can go even at least against Samsung, and they got that in this draft here. Luluvarus is so strong in the 2v2 lane, and the Cassiopeia can win early.
And we'll have to continue to check in on the top lane 1 versus 1. Huni into Cubase Kennen.
Game 1 of the 2017 League of Legends World Championship Final about to begin. We are on to Summoner's Rift, and it is going to be a barn burner of a match. SK Telecom T1, 3-time world champions, looking for number 4. Samsung Galaxy were a game away from dethroning them this time last year, and now in front of an even larger crowd in Beijing, China, hoping to be the second Samsung team to win Worlds.
In order to do that, they are definitely going to have to deal with this mid lane. Faker on Cassiopeia is one of the player and champion combinations that have been the most brutal for the opposing mid laner. Crown now is going to have a lot of defensive work to do. Cassiopeia can take off the shield very easily with the spammability of her spells and then continue to punish him because Malzahar, very few options for trading early on.
That's also where I get a little bit scared when I see Ambition on Zac, because Zac's early game is not very good either. It's not a strong 2v2 fight around the mid lane from Samsung until later in the game. They definitely need a Malzahar ulti and probably even more to actually beat the Cassiopeia and Gragas. So SKT will get that control they're looking for.
Of note, you're seeing the bot laners very focused on keeping the marksman alive, barrier heal on both of these squads right here. One of the fun innovations, I guess we can say, about Worlds so far this year. Our defense has been popular. Bot lane's been a very important lane, and keying very heavily on keeping those marksmen alive in the team fights. Ruler and Bang have been 2 of the world's best for quite a long time. We'll see how much they can put in this game.
And with Peanut getting the leash on top side, starting red and heading downward, Bang and Wolf get the early control of this bottom side. You can see the first thing that Wolf goes for is the brush control on the side lane to try and threaten Ruler there. And he did miss the last hits, so the early gold advantage over to the Varus lane here with Lulu on the brush control.
Everything counts in the early game.
20 gold.
You can, but more importantly for SKT, they're trying to get that early push in their favor after Samsung comes a little bit later to the lane here. Meanwhile, though, look at mid lane. Faker's already pushing Crown to his own turret, level 1.
And we talk about this matchup a little bit more in depth. Whenever we speak with any of the mid laners, the biggest frustrations with Malzahar and why we don't see him picked more frequently is the difficulty with CSing early. So the theory here for Faker, behind just shoving the wave into the turret, is that Malzahar already isn't able to get those last hits, and it makes it even more difficult as the turret shots are coming through. But that being said, Crown actually doing okay getting those last hits.
And then we have to add on that Malzahar's damage in the early game before his ulti is ready is not very high. It's easy for Cassiopeia to kill the small Voidlings and then simply out-trade Crown.
And we're seeing that jungle and mid lane link on display here already as Peanut goes for a bottom lane invade, drops his ward at the Raptor Pit, and then gets vision with Q first. So he's checking all of the boxes, being safe and looking both ways before he crosses the Krug camp.
Gets to cook it. He doesn't waste the W active on the Blast Cone. That's a coded interaction with the ability. So everything's ready. He's going to be just fine taking away Krug. That's easy to do. Ambition on his first recall should have enough for the Poacher's Knife. And now we're going to see CoreJJ sees him and pushes them back over the wall.
All right, Peanut will be safe for now. Now, a big thing about Samsung in the knockout stage of Worlds was they tried to play more for the early and mid game. They stopped playing just for late game team fights, and it was so focused around strong bot lanes. Because then Ambition will play bottom side. See what happens mid first, though, because Peanut is on his way.
Damage out of the silence. Crown's going to have his teammate coming in soon enough. But look at Faker taking plenty of damage. It's just the easy outplay 1v1. Crown gets out and he sees Peanuts nearby.
You have to be very careful chasing into Malzahar when those Voidlings are up, especially since there's not vision to know that Zac is not going to be there for a counter gank. So that's why Faker pulls off on the aggression and does not continue the chase.